So let me get my mic. All right, first of all, good morning, everybody. It's your boy Town Biz. Um, not gonna stay on here too long, but I was doing a little research and I was looking to see from a legal aspect what can Paul Pierce possibly do in regards to what happened with him during his tenure at ESPN. Does he have a legal wrongful termination case against ESPN? Well, here's the problem. These cases can be very particular and sometimes they're not transparent. They rewrite these type of laws in so many different ways, just like possession and all this kind of stuff. Possession is 9/10 of the law, but then they rewrite it in certain type of ways, but they have the but however, and that's the problem with Paul Pierce. Now, in case you guys don't know, we all know what happened with Shannon Sharpe. You know, the alleged audio of him, he was knocking the boots. Now the question remains, did he intentionally do it? And some people are disputing that. It's funny how a story can turn into a story, how everybody can have an angle. But listen, at the end of the day, I said this before when it first came about, when people were saying, well, he gonna get fired. What can the ESPN fire him for? On what grounds? Listen, most of us are union workers. Well, I'm not going to say most of us. I'm going to say a lot of us. If you're a union worker, you know what your options are when certain things happen. Just like, once again, I'm going to bring up the story with the dude on the Pop the Balloon show when he was saying he was a plumber and saying he was fired for being on that show. And, and everybody was like, okay, well, what grounds were you fired on? And come to find out that he wasn't telling the truth, because I kept saying to myself, okay, so what grounds can you be fired on? For what? Because you was on the show and you were arguing with people? I would sue the hell out my job. And then when he kept saying, well, we're working out a severance package. Listen, either you get fired or you don't. If you get terminated from a job, they either tell you not to come to the job, or you come to the job, they take your badge, your identification, escort you out the building, and then basically you wait till they send you your final paycheck. They will send you a letter of termination, or they will terminate you right on the spot and have everything waiting for you. It's either two ways. So that's why I wasn't kind of buying what he was selling, and I was like, okay, this is not making any kind of sense. I think he's not being honest. And I don't want to flat out call him a liar, but then come to find out he wasn't telling the truth. So that's the problem. Now, the problem is, depending on your perspective, state in California, if you feel like you are wrongfully terminated, you can file a complaint depending on who it is. You have within 180 days, that's 6 months, but you have an additional 2 to 3 years. Paul Pierce was let go by ESPN in 2021 for reasons unknown. They let him go for allegedly getting a massage. I did not know massages were against the law or against company policy, because technically they are allowed. Because the funny thing is, when athletes are going through an injury, depending on what the injury is, they recommend masseuse therapy. So a lot of people were just wondering on what grounds was he terminated for. So a lot of people was speculating like, hey, it got to be more to this story than meets the eye with Paul Pierce and why he was let go from ESPN, because getting a massage on the air and whatever the case may be, that doesn't translate to you being removed from the job. So that didn't make any kind of sense. So now this controversy with Shannon Sharpe. So people are saying, well, wait a minute. You guys didn't discipline Shannon Sharpe, but you fired Paul Pierce. And I'm going to say this once again. You can't do nothing to Shannon Sharpe because technically he was in the privacy of whatever place he was at. He technically didn't break any laws. So from a legal standpoint, what could you do to Shannon Sharpe? You couldn't do absolutely nothing for him basically doing and participating in adult activities. Like, okay. I can't even imagine him bringing him into the office saying, well, we have to let you go. And like, on what grounds? Oh, because you had sex. They would be like, okay, and it's, you know what type of stuff is floating around on the internet? That's the least of ESPN's problems. First of all, they let Max Kellerman stay at ESPN when Max Kellerman shouldn't even got suspended when Max Kellerman admitted that him and his wife slapped each other in an elevator. They suspended Max Kellerman. Now, Max Kellerman was never arrested or charged with anything, but they suspended him for personal conduct, which that could have been, he could have disputed that. So how the hell would you fire Shannon Sharpe? And yes, ESPN did Paul Pierce dirty, but the problem is, can Paul Pierce do anything? Because according to Johnny Law, they're saying that he may have ran out of time. So that's where the problem lies. Now, here's the reason why Fox didn't let go of Shannon Sharpe. Why ESPN didn't let go of Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe would have had a job within a week. Shannon Sharpe would have probably had a multi-million-dollar satellite radio deal. Fox may have asked him to come back. Who knows? He would have ended up on TV and satellite and social media one way or another. He would have been working within a week because of his value. Now, whether you believe he intentionally leaked the audio or not, and why he possibly leaked the audio, well, that's something only Shannon Sharpe knows. At the end of the day, I'm glad he didn't lose his job, but I'm just trying to tell you, ESPN, technically, I'm just going to talk street. They wouldn't have been able to do a motherfucking thing to Shannon Sharpe. ESPN can't do nothing to Shannon Sharpe. There ain't shit they can do. If they tried to remove Shannon Sharpe would win a wrongful termination, defamation of character lawsuit with ease. ESPN would have instantly lost. They can't do nothing. They can't tell that man he can't participate in adult activities. And I think for the most part, there's actually no visuals. Shannon Sharpe is too valuable. Shannon Sharpe is his name is just ringing. Shannon Sharpe right now is one of the most popular people on the planet right now. His popularity skyrocketed, made him even more of a commodity. This didn't hurt Shannon Sharpe. At the end of the day, people gonna make the jokes. People gonna make the joke. I would take it in stride. I wouldn't get offended by it or none of that stuff. That, people poke fun. Me and Goodfellas TV, we poke fun at each other all the time. Me, him, my correspondent Mig. So we poke fun. Me and 7-8, we poke fun at each other. We poke fun at each other, but we respectful towards each other, man. I don't try to disrespect 7-8. He don't try to disrespect me. I don't try to disrespect Goodfellas Sports. We are, like, at the end of the day, we men. There's a difference between poking fun at each other and then trying to disrespect somebody. When you do what other people was doing towards Shannon Sharpe, implying that he, what his sexuality is and all that kind of stuff, like Corey Holcomb and Eddie Griffin and Mike Epps and all those dudes. But then the funny thing is those dudes was proven to not be able to take it. Corey Holcomb then got into it with everybody. Corey Holcomb is always at odds with somebody. Corey Holcomb can dish it out, but to me, he can't take it. I like Corey Holcomb, but he's just proven to me that he ain't as solid as he pretend to be. Mike Epps, he came across as a coward. He said that shit about Shannon Sharpe, and when Shannon Sharpe was ready to whoop his ass, he was talked about he gonna get goons and all that kind of stuff. Then when he met up with Shannon Sharpe, he admitted that he brought a gun. I was like, bro, come on, man, it ain't even that serious. Why'd you bro? It ain't even that serious. What you bring a gun for, bro? If you were that scared of Shannon Sharpe, then you shouldn't have said nothing about him. That's all I'm saying. So, my thing is, why you worried about who a man having his bed unless you want to be in his bed? If you constantly keep bringing it up, that's suspicious of you. So, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But ESPN can't do nothing to Shannon Sharpe. Like, for real, fire you on what grounds? On what grounds? I think sometimes these jobs be thinking they have too much say-so of what you do in your private life. So I'm just saying, from a legal standpoint, I don't know if there's anything Paul Pierce could do. Because the complications is, okay, every state have different laws under statute of limitations and, wrongful termination lawsuits. But had this happened like in 2022, yeah, Paul Pierce would have in all likelihood had a case. But I think right now he can't. I think as of this moment, unfortunately, I think the statute of limitation ran out, because I think you have a short time span to react to wrongful terminations. Like, I'm in California. California has so many loopholes when it pertains to their laws and stuff. Like, 1 minute they say you could do this, but technically they'll say, well, you could do this, but technically you're not supposed to do this, or technically you can do this, but technically how they write these laws, they can make or break you. They can put you in a good position or a bad position. Basically, it really comes down to how much you're willing to spend on a lawyer. So that's basically what it comes down to. So unfortunately for Paul Pierce, I think there's nothing he could do, because I think the statute of limitation has ran out. I would have to look and see, depending on what he could do as far as filing. Now, I don't know. ESPN is headquartered in Connecticut, right? So ESPN has an office in Connecticut. I think they have an office. In New York, and then they have an office in Los Angeles. So once again, it would come down to where Paul Pierce's main residence is, for him to be able to figure out if there's anything he could do. But Paul Pierce has every right to be upset. He has every right to be upset with ESPN, because I was puzzled when he was let go by ESPN. So this makes me think that it got to be more to it than what we know. Because I just found his firing like very strange, because I was like, damn, you got fired for getting a massage? You got fired for getting a fucking massage? Like, so on what grounds did this that calls for termination? What is your justification from being, what is the company justification from moving you from the job and letting you go? I would have to see that in writing. So, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about the Tyreek Hill situation, and with him basically saying that he doesn't forgive that police officer that basically led the charge of him getting roughed up. And I want to pose a question now that it's been proven that that officer was in the wrong, because he's asking for, Tyreek Hill to accept his apology, which Tyreek Hill has since denied. But I'm pretty sure they're going to pressure him to accept his apology because with black people we have to let everything slide. But I wouldn't accept his apology. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Anyway, this your boy Taylor. I'm out.